I'm pretty sure these are ruined because earlier today we were hit with a rainstorm and everywhere was completely flooded. And earlier today, went outside, stepped in a huge pond. The inside of my shoes are completely soaked, especially this one right here. And as you can see, everything is still soaking wet. Well, the sun is starting to come out at least, but still, everything is still soaking wet, unfortunately. And that girl doesn't even care. So today gonna be telling a little story instead. So I really did not want to tell a story because I hate talking about it and I hate thinking about it. But I guess I have to tell eventually. So this happened about 20 years ago, back when I was only 12 years old. So I was still a little kid at the time. I was either 11 or 12. I can't remember. Anyway, so my parents, they were separated. Not gonna mention how or when, but they were separated. I could still see my father, but well, limitedly, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense at all. I mean, I could still see him, but not that much as I used to. So, we were living in Lakeland, Tennessee at the time, which is about 15 to 20 minutes away from here. We lived in Lakeland at the time, and so, well, the Delta Fair came into town. I remember this vividly, by the way. The Delta Fair came into town. It comes into town every single year, and my father, he decided to take me to it this year, or that year. Well, you know what I mean. So, we went to the fair, rode the rides, of course, ate food, had a good time, and then after that, my father, instead of taking me back home to my mother, he decided to take me back to his place. And because I was a little kid at the time, I thought that was a good idea. So we went to his place without telling my mother whatsoever. And so I'm sitting in his room on his computer watching videos, YouTube videos, and then my father comes in to the room with his phone, with his house phone, and he had this tone. I can't describe it, but he wasn't using his regular tone, if that makes any sense at all. So he hands me the phone and he says your mother wants to talk to you. So I said hello, and then next thing you know, my mother starts flipping out at me because she has no clue who I am. So I said that I'm staying with my dad for tonight, and she threatened to call the police. She threatened to call 911, which she never did. So the next day, this is the part I really did not like to think about. The next day, my father, he took me back here. Well, not at this house because we didn't live here at the time. Like I said, we lived in Lakeland, Tennessee. Anyway, so my father, he took me back to my mother, and as soon as I got out of the car, my mother, she pushes me into the garage, and she says she'll never see him again. And then a huge fight broke out in the front yard. Not a fist fight, of course, just a screaming match. And then, after about a minute of yelling and screaming back and forth, my father, he said, they better hope to God that a million screaming man with machine guns don't come running over the hill and shoot your ass or some shit like that. And so I went back inside the house, upstairs into my room, where I locked the door and jumped onto my bed and cried my eyes out because, well, I don't like hearing or seeing my parents fight like that. So, I went back upstairs, locked myself in the room, cried my eyes out for about 3 minutes when next thing you know I hear a knock at my bedroom door. Like that, well, obviously a lot louder than that. So I opened the door and there was my mother, and she had a nice long talk with me saying, I hope you won't turn into someone like that. And, you know, I really don't, like I said, I really don't like to talk or think about this event. And so, we had a nice long talk, and she said, you have two options. Do you want to go live with him, or do you want to live with me? And I said, I want to live with you. I really wanted to live with my father, but well, didn't exactly want to hurt her feelings. And I was confused at the time because I had no clue what the hell just happened. Because once again, I was still a little kid, about 11 to 12 years old, and it was just a lot of shit for me to process at the time. And well, I told her this is a lot to process, and she said, "You'll get over it." And then, 2 days later, well, 2 nights later, I see my father again. This time, well, I think he was dumping a bag of shit in the front yard. I don't know. He was dumping something in the front yard. I couldn't get a clear view of what it was because it was night at the time. So 2 nights later, my father, like I said, he came back to the house we were living in at the time, and he dumps, I assume, a bag of shit right out in the front yard, and he just got back into his car and just drove away. And didn't want to tell my mother about that because, well, didn't want to make the situation even worse. So yeah, about 2 weeks have gone by, and we haven't seen him since. So yeah, we moved because, well, we just wanted to get the hell away from him, and yeah, that was it. And by the way, it's been 20 years, and I haven't seen or spoken to my father ever since that event. Man, it's not easy. It really isn't easy to come from that incident. I mean, it happened about 20 years ago, about 20 and a half years ago, and once again, it's still a lot to process at the time. What the hell are you looking at? Hey. You know what? It's probably best I'll find out. So yeah, that is the story of the worst night of my entire life and the night in which I lost my father. So yeah, once again, once again, I really did not like I really don't want. God, I can't speak. I really did not like to think or talk about the event, but like I said, I guess you had to do what you don't want to do in life. And right, big girl. I guess you don't. Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. And I doubt my shoes have dried out any. Yeah, still soaking wet. Do I put them out here? Nah, you know what? I'm not gonna risk it. God forbid a bird sits on them or some shit like that. Would the dog jumps up on the table and chews them? I swear, if that happens, if the dog chews them up to smithereens, I'm gonna flip out because these are the only pair of shoes I have. So if these were to get chewed up by the dog, let's just say there's gonna be huge problems. You hear me, big girl? If you chew these damn things up, there's gonna be hell to pay. Big time. I mean, dead serious. Do not think about chewing on those shoes. I mean it. Well, anyway, well, that's going to be it for today. Flipping out again. I guess this is what you have when. I guess this is what you get when you have another dog or two dogs. Whatever. Anyway, well, that's it for He's gonna piss me off. Let me end it here and let me go take care of him really quick. So yeah, that's it for today.